Good evening. Welcome to the webinar on vulnerabilities over time. I am Suraj from the Azim Premji University. And this webinar is organized by the ICARD team. ICARD stands for India COVID Assessment and Response Dashboard. It's a network of individuals based at different places, housed at the Azim Premji University. ICARD is a public dashboard about the current situation of vulnerable populations, focusing on multiple humanitarian issues and, of course, all important livelihoods issues which are emerging, but focusing on a lot of different localities in multiple states. And our hope is that the ICARD exercise will complement many other such data exercises. Some of you would know that there are many household surveys being conducted, and hopefully the ICARD exercise will complement those other data exercises. ICARD differs from household surveys in two important ways. One is that it collects information for different blocks. So the development block is a key unit at which the ICARD collects information. And the motivation there is that the hope is that geographically specific information can guide place-based action at the district level, at the block level. So the idea is to get information from hundreds of different blocks. And the second distinctive feature of ICARD is that data is gathered not from households, but from local block level individuals who are experts in the sense of having lived there, worked on social issues, humanitarian issues, economic issues. So we call them block experts. And by locating such block experts and getting their sense of their blocks, this is a slightly different kind of exercise from household surveys. So the way ICARD works, before we get started today, just briefly tell you, is that we've reached out to civil society organizations to nominate individuals with knowledge of specific blocks in several states. And so we've got hundreds of these nominations. And so our ICARD team talks to these nominees, gets a sense of whether their background, their information base would fit what we're looking for. And then we have an elaborate process in which we onboard these block experts and lots of conversations about the methodology and so on. And ultimately, we do a monthly calls with these block experts, where we go over a range of 35 different questions across 6 domains: food and water, healthcare, finances, cash and credit of vulnerable populations, livelihoods, social relations, and issues regarding migrants and returned migrants. This information from conversation is then scored on a simple 3-point scale. Much of this information is there on our website under the methodology section. And we have tried to validate this information by cross-checking with others in the blocks and by using the interview methodology. At present, we have over 425 blocks across 9 states. And my colleague Ankit in a moment will be taking us through some of those details. What is the use of this kind of a dashboard? As I said before, the idea is to focus on vulnerabilities across geographies and over time. So we are hoping to do this exercise on a monthly basis for many months from here on to get a sense of the evolving situation, block by block by block. So which issue is of concern where and when? So that's the sort of granularity that this exercise hopes to pick up. And the hope is that this would help many responders in terms of overall planning and strategy, funders of civil society organizations themselves, perhaps government agencies working in the district level, the divisional level, the state level, and so on, media, maybe researchers, and the general public to get a better sense of and appreciate the geographic diversity of the present situation. I also want to add that the idea is not to single out any particular organization or the government for their performance. The overall spirit is one of collective responsibility and accountability, and how, as a society, we are trying to respond to the present situation. We've got over 100 civil society partners who've given of their time and information at the block level. Many well-wishers and volunteers. Want to thank them all. And for this presentation, besides me, you'll be hearing from my colleagues Ankit and Pooja. We've got several other colleagues, Rahul, Krunal, Prateek, as part of the core team. They might come in a little later for the question and answer session, perhaps. And we also acknowledge many limitations of this exercise. As you will see, how do we validate information by block experts? How do we improve coverage? How exactly can such information be used for action? These are all important questions that hopefully we can address a little bit during the discussion. So moving right along, Ankit will be introducing the dashboard and the website. After that, Pooja will be presenting very briefly some of the emerging patterns in the data. The entire data set is presented in dashboard form on our website, and Ankit will take you through that. So many of you listening in would be able to look at particular geographies, perhaps, or issues of your interest directly from the dashboard. Following that, we have two invited discussants. We're very happy that Jayati Ghosh and Vijay Mahajan have joined us, will be joining us for the discussion of the dashboard and their general sense of the present situation. And we'll close with taking some of the comments and maybe questions from those who are listening in. So please do send in your comments on the YouTube channel. And finally, while much of this webinar will be in English, we do understand that that is a limitation, and we have many people tuning in who would be more comfortable in other languages. We will try wherever possible, जहाँ भी हो सकता है, हम थोड़ा हिंदी में भी बात करने की कोशिश करेंगे. But that is one important limitation of this webinar. Thank you, and over to you, Ankit, to take us through the dashboard and the website.
Thank you, Suraj, for the introduction. So I'll quickly now take you through the website and the dashboard of iCARD. I hope you are able to see the screen that I'm sharing. So this is the landing page of the iCARD initiative. The landing page basically, in brief, mentions all the main issue domains, the geographies, the methodology, in brief, the purpose of the project, and the 425, more than 425 blocks that we have covered, it mentions in brief. So on the top, you can see that there are certain tabs. As Suraj explained in the introduction, our methodology, our respondents, our approach and validity, and our survey questions. You can explore the website, visit the website and explore the website and dive deep into the issues or questions that you may have about the entire survey. What I would like to focus on are two things. First is the emerging patterns page. So the emerging patterns page, you can see when we click on it, we get a page which has the emerging patterns for June round 2. Then we have some longitudinal analysis mentioned. Similarly, we have round 1 towards the end. So this particular section of emerging patterns will be covered by my colleague Pooja. But in brief, what it tells us is about domain and state-wise observations. It also lists down the list of all the 427 blogs that we have covered. It has some stories that have been written by some of our blog experts and our own team members. These qualitative narratives actually complement the quantitative data that we have on the dashboard. So Pooja will cover that. What I would like to focus on and dive into is the dashboard itself. This is the basic version of the dashboard. When you click on the dashboard on the top, this is what comes. So what we see here is basically two things. We see the domains on the top. As Suraj said, we have 6 major domains. हमारे 6 मुख्य मुद्दे पे जिन पे हम जानकारी इकट्ठा कर रहे हैं. Food and water, health, finances, livelihood, community and social discrimination, and the migrant situation. और and below you can see the geographies, the where. So this was the what, and this is the where. In the where, on the basic dashboard, what we are showing are 29 clusters. These 29 clusters are spread across 9 states. And the color coding that has been done, as you can see that different colors are present in front of each of the clusters. What basically that means is that deeper shade of red indicates the relatively worse off situation in a block, and the deeper shade of green basically indicates a relatively better off situation in the block. So other colors fall in between this deeper shade of red and the deeper shade of green. We have 29 clusters at the moment across 9 states. You can scroll and see, mostly we have on average 3 clusters per state. The largest states have, for example, 4 clusters also, like MP and UP. Now I will go into the deep dive of the dashboard. So when you click on deep dive, this is where I would like to spend more time on. This is the dashboard that comes on. Okay, so when you click on the deep dive dashboard, this is where we see most of our data. Okay, again, what we see on the dashboard, यहाँ पर हम देखते हैं the what remains, the 6 domain issues. उसके साथ हमारे 35 questions, as Suraj said. Each of the 35 questions that we are covering are listed on the left hand side, apart from the issue domains. So within each issue domain, हम कौन से सवाल कवर कर रहे हैं हर एक मुख्य मुद्दे में, वो यहाँ पर हमने लिस्ट डाउन किया है. The where is depicted on the map, displayed on the map. The 427 blocks that we have collected data from are all mapped on the India map here. And then the third component is the when. So we have 2 rounds of data. अभी तक हमने 2 बार data collection का process किया है, May and June. So you can see here that we have for each of the questions, when you hover over a particular data point, it shows the exact question that was asked. So हमने question पूछा था block expert से, वो question display होता है, score display होता है, and number of observations that we have for that particular question. So what we can see here is that, for instance, how does the color help us? The similar color strategy is used. Deeper shade of red is relatively worse off, and deeper shade of green is relatively better off. तो हम यहाँ देख सकते हैं, फॉर एग्जांपल अगर पीडीएफ शॉप्स ओपन पे हम कर्सर रखें तो इट शोज 2.634 as a score, and when we look at June, it is 2.309, which basically indicates that the score has decreased. हमारा स्कोर कम हो गया है overall on an India level, and that basically means is that the situation is kind of not getting better in terms of PDF shops being open. Similarly, if you look at other issues, we can see color shades changing. For example, Manrega work availability currently, it is getting better. So it was a darker shade of red, orangish, and now it is turning to yellow. So this is how we read the dashboard in one snapshot. But how is it useful for कैसे हमारे NGOs और CSOs और स्टेट एजेंसीज भी, सरकारी एजेंसीज के लिए कैसे ये डैशबोर्ड हेल्पफुल है? तो 2 तरीके हम देख सकते हैं इसको. पहला है द व्हाट. तो अगर आप किसी एक पर्टिकुलर इशू डोमेन में काम करते हैं, आपका अगर CSO लाइवलीहुड में काम करता है जैसे, तो इफ यू क्लिक ऑन लाइवलीहुड, इट विल शो यू ऑल द लाइवलीहुड क्वेश्चंस एंड द कलर ऑन द मैप आल्सो चेंजेस. तो आपके लाइवलीहुड के सवाल आ गए बाएं साइड पे, और राइट साइड में आपका मैप में भी कलर चेंज हो गया है लाइवलीहुड के हिसाब से कि क्या सिचुएशन है. तो जितना ज़्यादा लाल होगा मैप में, उतना ज़्यादा हालत ज़्यादा गंभीर है और वहाँ इमीडिएट अटेंशन की ज़रूरत है. और लेफ्ट हैंड साइड में हम देख सकते हैं कौन कौन से हमने सवाल पूछे हैं इन ईच ऑफ द डोमेन, सो इन द लाइवलीहुड डोमेन. So what we can see is that overall, while the situation is getting better, there is a lot that needs to be done for non-agricultural laborers income loss, for self-employed income loss, craft workers income loss. So this is how a CSO or NGO can, which works in livelihood, for example, can use the dashboard. इसी तरह से अगर हम कोई CSO NGO है जो एक स्पेसिफिक ज्योग्राफी में काम करती है, समझ लीजिए आप सिर्फ मध्य प्रदेश में काम करते हैं, तो आप ऊपर जो फिल्टर्स दिए हैं उसमें इफ यू सिलेक्ट मध्य प्रदेश, देन only Madhya Pradesh will come as a focus on the dashboard. as I selected Madhya Pradesh, now you can see the Madhya Pradesh map has come, and all the blocks that we have collected data from Madhya Pradesh has come, and the color on the left has also changed. So, and now within Madhya Pradesh, क्योंकि मध्य प्रदेश बहुत बड़ा राज्य है, अगर आप किसी एक स्पेसिफिक डिस्ट्रिक्ट में काम करते हैं, जैसे कि अगर आप पन्ना डिस्ट्रिक्ट में काम करते हैं और आपने पन्ना डिस्ट्रिक्ट सेलेक्ट किया, तो अगर फिर से आप देखिए यहाँ पे कलर चेंज हो गया है, और ये हमारे मैप में अब हमें पन्ना डिस्ट्रिक्ट के कौन कौन से हम ब्लॉक्स कवर कर रहे हैं वो दिखा रहा है. So colors have also changed. It is showing data for May. It is showing data for June. अगर आपको और स्पेसिफिक डेटा चाहिए, फॉर एग्जांपल, देन यू कैन सेलेक्ट से व्हाट आर द ब्लॉक्स. हमने 4 ब्लॉक्स कवर किए हैं पन्ना डिस्ट्रिक्ट में, तो आप सिलेक्ट कर सकते हैं फॉर एग्जांपल पवई. तो आप पवई ब्लॉक जैसे सिलेक्ट करेंगे, फिर से हम देखते हैं लेफ्ट में कलर चेंज हो गया है. ओके, और पवई ब्लॉक हमारे मैप में आ गया है यहाँ पे लेफ्ट हैंड राइट हैंड साइड में. तो अगर हम देखें क्या चीज़ है विच इज़ गेटिंग बेटर और क्या चीज़ है जिसपे जो एक्चुअली डिक्रीज हो रही है. फॉर एग्जांपल, नॉन एग्रीकल्चरल लेबरर्स का इनकम लॉस की हालत और ज़्यादा गंभीर हो गई है बिटवीन मई एंड जून. और अगर हम देखें तो जो कोविड फैसिलिटीज थी ब्लॉक लेवल पे, वो इम्प्रूव हो गई हैं ब्लॉक लेवल पे पवई ब्लॉक में. सो दिस इज हाउ वी कैन यूज द डैशबोर्ड डिपेंडिंग ऑन द जोग्राफीज यू वर्क in or the issues that you're working in. Okay, so when we reset all filters, it takes you back to the original dashboard that I was showing on all India level. Also, in case you want to look at a specific block on the map itself, you can click. For example, Powai block की हम बात कर रहे थे, तो अगर हम Powai block map पे click करते हैं, तो again it will take you to Powai block and it will show you all the data that I was showing through the filters. पहले मैंने filters के through किया, अभी मैंने map में directly click किया. So there are multiple functionalities: the what, the domain issues and the questions that we have, the where, that is the geographies, and the when, the May and June data. अभी हम जुलाई का data collect कर रहे हैं, which we'll add on the dashboard. So we'll have 3 rounds of data. So similarly, and towards the if you scroll down towards the bottom of the dashboard, we can also see what groups we have collected data for, the approach and validity, the methodology, the survey questions on which we have collected data, as Suraj was explaining. So what I would encourage is, please go through the dashboard and please reach out to us in case you have any questions, in case you want to explore the raw data, please reach out to us. This dashboard can be useful for crafting your strategies for humanitarian and relief work, as well as for more pinpoint efforts on the ground. So yeah, thank you everyone. I would now hand it over to Pooja, who will take you through the analysis.
Right. Thank you, Ankit. Thank you so much for taking us through the dashboard. And as you might have already seen, that the dashboard has an extensive data collected and represented over different geographies, over different issues. So what I'll try to do in my part of the presentation is to give you a snapshot of how this dashboard data can be utilized to understand, as Ankit was saying, the vulnerabilities across geographies and across issues. And how do we identify the areas both geographically as well as issue-wise, and we decide how and where to intervene. So if I can just quickly share my screen, what we'll do is what I will do is to broadly explain the way the data can be analyzed or data can be represented. So as you have already seen, we have data for 29 clusters, and these clusters are groups of blocks which we have categorized as a cluster based on their similarity in terms of their agricultural, ecological, geographical, and other social kind of characteristics. So we have 29 such clusters across 9 states. So what we do is we can analyze the data based on cluster. We can analyze the data based on domain, based on issues, and of course based on time. So what we can do is we understand what is the domain-wise variation across the clusters, and then this domain-wise variation can be superimposed with a time-wise variation, and then digging deeper to see what is the issue-wise variation in each of these clusters. Now, I'll just quickly take you through some of the domains and reflect on some of the broad findings that we get from our data. So if you see, we have domains, which is access to food and water and healthcare. And the colors are basically of the bars shows us different clusters in different states. And you can see that each of these clusters are varying considerably in both these domains of food and water and healthcare. Now, in particular, if we focus on, let's just say, the West Bengal region called Duars, we see that that is one of the region which is particularly doing poor in terms of access to food and water as compared to the other clusters. Now, when we look at this, and then we have something in Madhya Pradesh, which we can focus, which is the region of Bundelkhand and Mahakoshal, where we see that the access to food and water are comparable. Now, when we are looking at Duars, and when we look at access to food and water, while it is doing considerably poorer in the domain of food and water, in healthcare facility, on the contrary, we see that Duars is doing considerably well. So this kind of highlights the fact that a cluster is, when it's doing relatively worse in one of the domains, it's not necessary that it will be doing worse or badly in other domains. Similarly, in the regions of Mahakoshal and Bundelkhand in Madhya Pradesh, while they are comparable in terms of access to food, when it comes to access to healthcare, we see a huge difference between these two clusters. So this indicates that these clusters are varying extensively across different domains, and there is no such standard pattern that we can imagine that a cluster being underdeveloped or falling back in one particular domain. So now what we have is, similarly, when we look at, now what we can also do is we can look at these variations across time. And this is the chart which shows the variation across time. The orange line, the orange bar is variation in June, and the blue bar is variation in May. So what we see particularly in Duars region, where we found that access to food and water is a problem, we see that it is a problem in June and probably not so much, and which is deteriorated in the month of June. So when we compare May and June, we see that this particular region has shown a drop in the month of June in terms of access to food and water. Now, similarly in healthcare facility, if we look at the blocks in the cluster of blocks in Madhya Pradesh, Bundelkhand and Mahakoshal, we see that even though Mahakoshal is doing relatively worse off than Bundelkhand in terms of access to healthcare facility, however, it has shown improvement in the month of June as compared to May. So the moment we have the time aspect in picture, we see how these different patterns are changing or moving over the period of time. So while we know that there are gaps, but we also know that how these gaps are moving across different time frames. Similarly, we can do it for other domains. So we have it for access to cash and credit, where again, we see that overall the access of cash and credit has remained the same, or rather it has deteriorated a bit. Again, we can take some examples like South Orissa, North Orissa and Central Orissa cluster, where we see a lot of variation, which was not the case in May. So we see that for some of the blocks, it has deteriorated, whereas some other blocks, it has almost remained the same. Now, what we find interestingly in the case of returned migrant status and facilities is that overall, the facilities in terms of livelihood facilities as well as shelter and food provided to the returned migrants has shown considerable improvement in the month of June. This is true for many of the blocks, though not for all the blocks. But largely, we have seen that there is an improvement. Loss of livelihood continues to be an issue. And as Ankit showed in the dashboard, it is an issue particularly for certain kinds of livelihood, which is mostly non-agri-based livelihood, and also the livelihood which are mostly self-employed livelihood is where we see the loss continues. The other interesting finding that we have is on Manrega work. So here we have two distinctive things. One is the number of work days available under the Manrega scheme, and the other is the demand of Manrega kind of work from people. So now, in terms of number of days availability, you would see the chart on the left hand side. It shows what the status was pre-COVID in the month of May, which is represented by the blue bar, and in the month of June. So what we see on an average broadly is that there was a decline in the number of days of work provided through Manrega in the month of May, which is now showing improvement in the month of June. So the blocks which had lower number of days in the month of May as compared to pre-COVID is now having more number of days. In fact, in June, most of the blocks have more number of days than what it used to be pre-COVID. Now, on the contrary, what we see in the demand side of Manrega work is that many blocks have shown decrease in the demand for Manrega work. Now, there are several narratives which are coming from the field and which is kind of varied, so we cannot generalize them. But largely, we see that having a good Kharif season is coming out as one of the reasons why the demand for Manrega kind of job is lower. Also, in some locations, we see that migrants are going back, and that could be a reason for lower demand in Manrega work. Now, why do we do this? When we do this kind of an analysis that is looking at different domains and different issues and different clusters, how they are doing, what we can do is we can actually map these clusters broadly in terms of state-wise and domain-wise, and look at in each of these states for a particular domain, which is the block which needs attention. So for example, in case of Bihar, if you're focusing on a domain of food and water, the Northwest Bihar or Tirhut region appears as an area of concern or area which requires attention. Similarly, we see that for health, there are few clusters which requires particular attention. And this kind of a mapping helps us identify the gaps on the ground. Now, quickly, what I'll also do is to explain how we can slice the data further to have some broad state level observations. And here, what the example state that I have is Jharkhand. Now for Jharkhand, we have broadly two clusters. One is the South Jharkhand, which is largely the South Chota Nagpur region. And the other one is the East Jharkhand, which is Santhal Pargana region. Now, in these two clusters, when we look at access to food and water over time, what we observe is that both the clusters have shown a decrease, the orange line showing the decrease in the access to food and water. Now, this is also important for us to understand that the decrease is more in South Jharkhand. So if at all we can do a block level analysis, we will find that many blocks or most of the blocks in South Jharkhand region have shown a decline as compared to East Jharkhand region. Now, digging a little deeper into what is causing this decrease in access to food and water, we go to an issue-wise representation of the cluster. So here we find the left-hand side chart is showing the access of food and water in East Jharkhand, and the right-hand side is showing that for the South Jharkhand. So what we find here is that in East Jharkhand, in fact, both the regions, the problem area is PDS shops being open. And this is something that we are finding that we are observing from many of our locations is that while the access to PDS shops is improving, the number of hours that the PDS shops used to be open in a week has deteriorated considerably. And that is what is now pulling the access to food and water bit down. And that's what is appearing from our data. Similarly, we see that there is an issue in access to MDM or midday meals. And again, a narrative which is coming from the field is that midday meals where obviously the schools are closed, so there is no formal provisioning of midday meal. But when the schools were open or were just closing down, that's when they distributed the midday meals in terms of distributing dry ration to most of the children. And that's when it stopped. So there has not been much distribution in the month of June, and hence it shows a decline. We can do a similar thing when we look at the healthcare for Jharkhand. Again, we get some very interesting insights here, where we see that South Jharkhand has shown a decrease in the access to healthcare facility, whereas East Jharkhand has in fact showing an improvement in the health facilities. Now, what is causing this decrease and improvement? when we look at East Jharkhand, which is showing an improvement, we see that the improvement is basically coming from the improvement in the running of ASHA workers and considerable improvement in basic health need access. But the issue where it is still falling behind or falling back is the availability of COVID-related facilities. Now, what is happening in South Jharkhand is very different. Now, in South Jharkhand, what we largely observe is that the activity of the community health workers has considerably declined in the month of June. Similarly for the ASHA, similarly for the Anganwadi programs, they have declined considerably. And that is what is pulling the overall healthcare facilities in South Jharkhand down. Again, for Manrega work, we have some very similar kind of observation wherein we see that the number of days under Manrega work has increased. For East Jharkhand, in fact, it is close to 4. Now, but for demand for the Manrega work, we see there's a variation. In South Jharkhand, it has decreased, whereas in the East Jharkhand region, it has increased. Now, these are some of the ways by which we can analyze, slice the data, and we can draw or have some very broad conclusions. And our dashboard, in fact, helps us do many such things, many such analysis, and dig deeper to find out what is the issue which is affecting a particular location and how can that issue be addressed. So having said that, I'll hand over the presentation to Suraj for him to take it forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Pooja. अब हम discussion segment के ओर बढ़ते हैं. We are very happy to have two eminent discussants join us, Vijay Mahajan and Jayati Ghosh. And I'll briefly introduce them. I'd request both of them to maybe switch on their videos. Thank you. Jayati is an economist at the Jawaharlal Nehru University with wide-ranging interests in macroeconomics, government policies, and gender and development. Vijay helped establish the NGO Pradhan and the Basics Social Enterprise Group, which works on promoting livelihoods of the poor. He is presently director of the Rajiv Gandhi Institute for Contemporary Studies. Jayati and Vijay, welcome to the discussion. Aapka swagat. We'll try to keep the discussion in a conversational format. पहला प्रश्न ब्रॉड प्रश्न है. डैशबोर्ड की अपनी कुछ सीमाएं तो है ही, लेकिन इसके बावजूद ऐसे सूचना आधारित प्लेटफॉर्म, डेटा ड्रिवन प्लेटफॉर्म्स के क्या उपयोग हो सकते हैं एनजीओ, सामाजिक नागरिक संस्थानों के लिए, सरकारी एजेंसीज के लिए, मीडिया के लिए, आम नागरिक के लिए, शोधकर्ताओं के लिए वगैरह. That is to say, despite its limitations, what are the potential uses you see of such a data platform for civil society organizations, funders, government agencies, media, citizens, researchers, and so on? From your own perspectives, we'd like to hear. Perhaps, Vijay, we could start with you and then move on to Jayati. Thank you.
धन्यवाद सूरज. मैं कोशिश करूंगा जितना हो सके हिंदी में ही बोलूं. तो सबसे पहले तो आपकी टीम को बहुत बहुत बधाई. ये जो आपने प्रयास किया है बहुत अच्छा है. बहुत ही कम समय में काफ़ी जानकारी जो है वो मिल रही है. अभी प्रयास नया है, इसलिए कई कमियां हैं जो आप जानते हैं और थोड़ी अभी उसके बारे में बात करेंगे. उन कमियों को हम धीरे धीरे कुछ ही महीनों में मेरे ख्याल से दूर कर पाएंगे. लेकिन इसका जो एक कायम फायदा होगा वो होगा कि अलग अलग जो स्टेक होल्डर जो आपने बताए, सिविल सोसाइटी इंस्टीट्यूशंस जो वहाँ काम कर रही हैं या जो नेशनल लेवल पे पॉलिसी पे काम कर रही हैं, बोथ डिस्ट्रिक्ट एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन एज वेल एज स्टेट गवर्नमेंट एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन, सेंट्रल मिनिस्ट्रीज, मीडिया के लोग, और इवन बैंकिंग एंड फाइनेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूशंस, कुछ प्रमोशनल इंस्टीट्यूशंस, सबको इससे एक काफ़ी ओवरऑल व्यू तो मिलता है. अभी मुझे जो मेन चीज जो अखर रही है वो ये है कि एक तरह से जो 6 मुद्दे हैं उनमें सबसे बड़ा मुद्दा आपके डैशबोर्ड से भी आ रहा है और वैसे भी जनरल जानकारी में भी आ रहा है कि लाइवलीहुड्स इज द बिगेस्ट इशू। और लाइवलीहुड्स का जो बिगेस्ट चैलेंज है वो है ईस्टर्न यूपी, नॉर्थ बिहार, to some extent Bundelkhand, both southern UP and northern Madhya Pradesh, and some parts of Jharkhand and Odisha. तो इसमें मुझे लगता है कि आपका जो फील्ड रिप्रेजेंटेशन है वो ईस्ट सेंट्रल एंड ईस्टर्न यूपी और नॉर्थ बिहार के लिए काफ़ी अभी उसको और हमें बढ़ाना होगा, क्योंकि उन इलाकों में डेंसिटी ऑफ पॉपुलेशन बहुत ज़्यादा है और इश्यूज भी बहुत ज़्यादा हैं। अगर हम मान लीजिए उदाहरण के लिए बस्तर ज़िले को कंपेयर करें टू से पूर्णिया या मधुबनी या इधर यूपी में देवरिया या आजमगढ़, तो बहुत फ़र्क है कितने लोग अफेक्टेड हैं वगैरह वगैरह। तो एक तो ये इशू है। दूसरा इशू ये है कि because you've used the the 3-point scale and it's essentially I understand it's a Likert scale, तो जैसे निमाड़ एक जो है सबसे अभी सबसे ज्यादा समस्या वाला आपके 29 क्षेत्रों में सबसे कम स्कोर उसका आया है। लेकिन मुझे नहीं लगता कि निमाड़ के स्कोर जो हैं वो बस्तर के स्कोर से या नॉर्थ बिहार के स्कोर से कंपेरेबल, क्योंकि अलग अलग लोग दे रहे हैं और मेरा 1 और आपका 1 में फर्क हो सकता है, मेरे 3 और आपके 3 में फर्क हो सकता है। आई नो यू आर ट्राइंग टू स्टैंडर्डाइज, लेकिन थोड़ा सा हमें ये एक्सेप्ट करना होगा कि स्ट्रिक्ट कंपेरेबिलिटी नहीं है अक्रॉस रीजन्स, अक्रॉस थीम्स एंड इवन अक्रॉस टाइम, ऑल्दो द सेम एक ही व्यक्ति बार बार हर महीने वो कर रहा है, तो थोड़ा उनका उस मामले में तो स्टैंडर्डाइजेशन हो जाएगा। तो ये कुछ जो मेथड मैं अपना जो पहले कमेंट्स हैं वो ज्योति के बाद मैं सब्सटेंस पे भी आऊँगा, लेकिन अभी मैं मेथोडोलॉजी के ऊपर आपको थोड़ा फीडबैक देना चाहता था। थोड़े और छोटे माइनर पॉइंट्स हैं डैशबोर्ड के बारे में, वो वेबिनार में बोलने की जगह मैं आपको बाद में ईमेल में दे दूंगा।
Thank you, Vijay. Jyoti, please.
थैंक यू सूरज, और मैं भी आप लोगों को बहुत बहुत बधाई देना चाहती हूँ, बिकॉज ये बहुत ही ज़रूरी थी। फिलहाल देश में ये हालत है, एक्चुअली वी हैव नो डेटा। ये शायद पहली बार मैं खुद सोशल साइंटिस्ट होने के नाते में मैं देख रही हूँ कि most things we actually have no data. We don't have information on on consumption, because even the consumption survey was not released. We don't have information on a huge range of things which we used to get reasonably quickly. And so for any information now, I think it's very, very important. And what is really interesting about this one is that it is very quick. It's almost real time. You're telling us what's the situation in June. And so that way it is definitely a huge, I would say incredibly useful for all of the stakeholders you mentioned. Government, of course, I think the government also would actually end up using it. But I think Vijay ने कुछ सवाल उठाए, मैं भी थोड़ा सहमत हूँ उनसे। सबसे पहली बात ये होता है कंपैरेबिलिटी वाली, क्योंकि आपने जैसे बोला ही है, और ये और कोई तरीका शायद नहीं है, मगर फिर भी हमें थोड़ा सोचना पड़ेगा कि हर ब्लॉक में आपके 2-3 रिस्पोंडेंट हैं और आपने ट्रायंगुलेट करने की भी कोशिश की, फिर भी फर्क तो होंगे ही। और अभी भी आपके डैशबोर्ड में कुछ आउटलायर्स मुझे लगा थोड़ा अजीब सा, जैसे महाकोशर में लाइवलीहुड का स्कोर 3 हो गया, जो मैक्सिमम स्कोर है। कैसे हुआ, जबकि महाकोशर में बाकी आप दिखा रहे थे कि इट्स काइंड ऑफ really quite low in many of the other indicators. तो ये क्या, is it because the expectation of those who are responding is also that ऐसे ही है जी, तो ऐसे ही जो हो रहा था पहले वैसे ही है? One has to kind of think about how perhaps मुझे एग्जैक्टली पता नहीं कि आपने प्रश्न तो दिया है, मगर अगर उन प्रश्नों को थोड़ा और ग्रैन्युलर कर सकते हैं कि स्पेसिफिकली कितने आपके अंदाज में यहाँ पे नौकरियां पहले जितनी मिलती थी, या वेज रेट की कितना आगे गया है कि कम हो गया है, something a little bit more sort of grounded so that we have a basis of for comparison. Because I noticed a few outliers. I can't remember them all now, but there were some which seemed a little unusual, and so it might be as far as possible if you can try and get them to ground it in something, so that they can actually tell you कि दिहाड़ी का रेट इतना चल रहा था, अभी इतना चल रहा है, या ज्यादा लोगों को ये काम मिल रहा था, अभी नहीं मिल रहा. Something that we could actually sort of use to compare. दूसरी बात है बस, I suppose it's also just in terms of the questions. आपने कहा था माइग्रेंट का जो फूड एक्सेस और जॉब एक्सेस दोनों आपने पूछा है, मगर उन दोनों को इकट्ठा कर दिया. मुझे लग रहा है कि वो दोनों अलग अलग होनी चाहिए, क्योंकि दो अलग चीजें हैं. एक तो एक सरकारी पॉलिसी भी है कि वो माइग्रेंट्स को जिनके पास राशन का कार्ड नहीं है उनको दिया जाए. वो कितनी हद तक वो हुआ है या नहीं हुआ है. विशेष करके पीडीएस से जो बाहर है उनका क्या हो रहा है वो थोड़ा सा देखना चाहिए, क्योंकि वो फिलहाल एक बहुत बड़ा समस्या है. हेल्थ एक्सेस में आपने कहा ओवरऑल हेल्थ एक्सेस, मगर इसमें क्या पीएचसी खुला है या कौन सा प्रश्न है? क्योंकि बाकी जो हमें खबर आ रही है कि इंस्टीट्यूशनल डिलीवरीज काफी कम हो गए हैं, इम्यूनाइजेशन काफी कम हो गया. इसका भी थोड़ा अगर आप ग्रैन्युलर कर सकते हैं. मैं मानती हूँ कि जो आपने किया है इट्स ऑलरेडी वंडरफुल, बिकॉज इट्स अ ह्यूज एक्सरसाइज, इट्स अ डिफिकल्ट एक्सरसाइज, और आप इतने सारे लोगों से करवा रहे हैं, इट्स वेरी डिफिकल्ट. मगर जबकि आप कर नहीं रहे हैं तो नेचुरली वी गेट ग्रीडी, वी वांट सम मोर आउट ऑफ दिस. बट आई think it's a wonderful, very, very important, and I think incredibly useful effort, especially because we really lack information at this point. Magar something has to be done about the comparability. नहीं तो आपका भी क्या होगा मैं बताऊं कि जहाँ ब्लॉक्स आपको खराब मिल रहे हैं वहाँ सरकारी लोग हो या और कोई हो आके बोलेंगे कि नहीं आपका मेथोडोलॉजी इसमें गलत है और ये वगैरह वगैरह वगैरह. So as far as possible we need to ground it in something that has some clear database.
Yeah, thanks to both of you, and I think we completely take on board at least the one of the main thrusts of both of your comments कि ये किस तरह का डेटा मिल सकता है जो कंपेरेबल है, जो क्रेडिबल है. क्योंकि हो सकता है कि हमें लगता है ये क्रेडिबल है क्योंकि हमने जो भी इंटरव्यू मेथोडोलॉजी अपनाया है, बट दूसरे लोगों को कन्विंस करने के लिए भी सरकार के हो या जो भी हो कुछ ऑब्जेक्टिव कंपेरेबल डेटा तो करना ही पड़ेगा. जैसे विजय आपने कहा बस्तर और निमाड़ को कैसे कंपेयर करेंगे. ऑफ कोर्स हमारा कुछ एक प्रोसेस है जिसके जरिए हम 1 या 2 या 3 जो भी स्कोर है, इट इज एक सिमिलर प्रोसेस है, फिर भी इसमें बहुत सारे रूम टू मैन्यूवर है ही. So that is something we can. So I'd also like to say initially.
Sorry, Suraj, एक बात जो ज्योति ने कही, I want to re-emphasize कि हर एक, और ये अधिकतर जो है ना, आपने जो NGOs हैं, obviously local NGOs हैं, वहाँ काफी समय से रह रहे हैं, काम कर रहे हैं. हर एक इलाके की एक एक्सपेक्टेशन लेवल अलग होती है. अगर आप नॉर्थ बिहार या ईस्टर्न यूपी में रह रहे हैं तो भाई यहाँ तो ऐसा ही होता है ना. पीडीएस दुकान जो है महीना में 1 बार 2 बार खुल गई तो बहुत बड़ी बात है. इस बार कोविड के जमाने में 3 बार खुल गई तो वाह, 3 नंबर मिल गए. जबकि अगर आप महाराष्ट्र में जाएंगे तो वहां तो महीना में 25 दिन खुलना चाहिए. So some of it is that also. And if you see, I mean, I tried to do a quick overview of all the parameters. You'll find that despite all of that, UP and Bihar are generally getting low scores as expected. है ना. तो एक तरह से, I mean, what Jyoti said, I also want to concretize, although it's not in this context, but एक दूसरे context में जो Jyoti knows much more about it, कि भाई इकोनॉमी रिवाइव हो रही है नहीं हो रही. तो एक दिन एक डेटा आया कि जी जीएसटी कलेक्शन बहुत बढ़ गया है, 1 लाख करोड़ की जगह अभी 90,000 तक पहुंच गया है, यानी 90% रिकवरी हो गई है इकोनॉमी की. लेकिन उसमें बिकॉज देयर वाज अ लैग, मार्च का जीएसटी और अप्रैल मई का जीएसटी जून में आया, तो इट्स नॉट एज रिलायबल. लेकिन देयर वाज अ सेकंड पीस ऑफ डेटा कि ई बिल्स कितने बने जून के महीने. तो ई बिल्स जो है क्यों, सिंस दे आर डन ऑनलाइन एंड रियल टाइम, तो ई बिल्स अगर बढ़ गए हैं तो दैट्स अ श्योरर साइन ऑफ इकोनॉमिक रिकवरी. So, I mean, I'm not right now talking about recovery हुई या नहीं, but just to how do we find some parameter जिससे कि बिल्कुल नब्ज पकड़ी जाए और वो सरकार को भी एक्सेप्टेबल हो और लोगों को भी तुरंत विश्वास हो कि हाँ भाई इसमें तो फर्ज नहीं कर सकते, you know.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I think, yeah, so we need, one is multiple indicators and indicators which जैसे आप कह रहे हैं नब्ज पकड़ सकते हैं. तो I think initially we were trying to go for a very broad picture, इसलिए हमने even social discrimination का अलग अलग प्रश्न पूछे. तो we were trying very broad. Now emerging situation में थोड़ा और clarity है कि of course livelihoods जैसे आपने कहा, of course health. तो we might, maybe one future direction could be to pick some domains and go deeper on it rather than go this wide. And जैसे livelihoods में भी हमारे एक प्रश्न तो broad है कि agriculture में income loss को कैसे assess करेंगे. That is why Jyoti, we might have got some slightly outlier numbers, right? Because these are fairly broad and it could be critiqued as being impressionistic, जैसे आप कह रहे हैं. Of course, impressions of somebody who's on the field, but nevertheless, so if we can reduce our domains and maybe therefore pick more indicators which we can link, say objective indicators, जैसे विजय आप कह रहे हैं e-bills का equivalent जो भी है, that would definitely strengthen this. So that is probably one direction we could take, because we think we are in it for a longer period. We want to collect this monthly, and so this could be a way, now that we've sort of set it up. एक width हो गया तो इस तरह का focus and get indicators which really जो आप कह रहे हैं get to the heart. So very useful comments. Any other comments before we move on? Yeah, Jyoti, I think you were going
just one cautionary note that getting these indicators at the block level is expensive. मान लीजिए institutional delivery वाली बात ही अगर कहें, block तो काफी बड़ा है. You have to actually, somebody on the ground has to be willing to check how many women did not have institutional. That's a really difficult, time consuming, expensive exercise. So you have to also think of what you can do that would not be so expensive, be feasible, but nonetheless give you some number that is, cannot be disputed.
Right. Which is why we decided early on itself not to do the household survey. So if in each block we have several hundred randomly chosen households, then we will know who has got access to this, that. But that is of course impossible currently, which is why we took this route in the first place. But the disadvantages are now something we have to. So one possibility is to tie up with some.
So there is a halfway house between the two. Thanks to the fact that we now have a fairly large and almost nationwide self-help group movement, women's self-help groups. There are now more than 1 crore self-help groups in the country. And about 50 lakh of them are actually linked with banks. So those are definitely for real, Even the others, many of them from ground experience I know are real. For some very good groups don't manage to link with banks for various reasons. तो 60-70 लाख तो हैं. So instead of doing household surveys and at the same time instead of using NGOs, अगर आप selected self-help groups को अपना ground seismograph बना लें, with some training, then that coupled with this experiment that was done by the Tata Trust called Internet Sathin, where younger women from self-help groups were trained to use smartphones and both download government scheme data as well as upload many things. So a combo of those two,
right?
I think you will get fairly close. I mean, the kind of question Jyoti just asked, कि भाई कितनी महिलाएं थी जो who were expecting to deliver, but वो normal course में जाती हैं अगर PHC या CHC, लेकिन नहीं जा पाएं. इस तरह के प्रश्न जो है वो आई थिंक SHGs के माध्यम से थोड़ा और आसान मिल रहे हैं. PDS कितने दिन खुला रहा, instead of asking 1 or 3 NGO वालास, if we ask 30 SHGs, I expect it will be far more and almost comparable in accuracy as say if we ask 300 random households, you know. So
And if you ask that specific question, कितना दिन खुला रहा? Rather
exactly.
than कि वो better है कि worse है, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah, thank you. This is actually a fresh suggestion. We've been, doing a lot of brainstorming, but I think this could be one way to go. It will also, of course, bring the gender angle a little more. One of the, of course, limitations is we have not taken a gendered lens in iCard. Initially, in a pilot phase, we did try, and then we realized that for various reasons, the information is not credible. And we have the Kudumbashree model even for data collection. In Kerala, where some of those Kudumbashree workers are doing this for the government. So something like that for the states that we are interested in could be one. So yeah, thank you for that.
Also, Ashas and Anganwadi workers also are supposed to collect a lot of these data. Now, mind you, you can't go to every Asha and every Anganwadi worker, but presumably at the block level, they will be reporting to someone. So again, if you talk to that person and say, what are the numbers this month of this?
Right. So the next sort of broad theme, and I think we've already started discussing it, is just from a quick look at the dashboard, if you've had a chance or just listening in from what Pooja was presenting, any particular trends which grab your attention as odd, which Jayati mentioned a few, right? Or interesting, or doesn't accord with what we are understanding. Or as Vijay, you said, yeah, of course, Eastern UP, Bihar is showing up. So any comments on any of the specifics? Because now we are trying to move towards that kind of, even though this was not conceived as a heavy research exercise, now we are moving to try to, finesse it and to try to get at some of these findings. And even NREGA, now we are finding that NREGA is picking up. Of course, we have some speculative reasons Pooja presented, but some of so any thoughts on any domains and regarding what's coming up? Yeah, maybe Jayati. Yeah.
Suraj, I was quite struck that you seemed to suggest the demand for NREGA work was coming down. Now that one, it's such a complicated thing because a lot of the way the demand is measured is whether it is registered as demand. And of course, we all know this, that state governments and down to the district level, they will not register it till they have the works ready. So what was the question? Would you ask people? Would you rather work on would you work on NREGA or not? Or did you go by the numbers registered of the demand for work? Because we know
that we didn't go by the numbers. We went by the block experts' sense of it. They are included.
So there
not
is
the
a
numbers.
concern there. So there is a concern there, but there's an even more bigger concern, I would say, which is that the numbers themselves are often not indicating the real state of the affairs, because at the local level, they don't register the demand until they have a work site ready. So there needs to be some way of, I think it was somewhere like Mahakoshal or something where the demand for work had come down because, and livelihood was anyway up to 3. And it just didn't, it didn't seem plausible to me, but then maybe I'm coming with too many prejudices. Maybe it's true that this is the sowing season for Kharif and so everybody's busy sowing or something, but somehow I don't think that is correct, because we know that even when the men are sowing, the women are quite happy to work on those if the work is available. So I'm just,
Yeah, I'll just ask my colleague Pooja to come in. Pooja, maybe after, maybe Vijay comes in on this, because you've been looking at the information. And, with the scoring, we have also, as part of the conversation with block experts, we also have some qualitative information about the block, kya ho raha hai, which we are not capturing in, the scale. So we might be able to, so I think this NREGA thing is bound to be, it's a thorny thing. And we are, in a sense, this is a slightly superficial way of picking it up. So maybe Pooja, now's the time to really think a little more, so about it. So yeah, go on, Jayati. Yeah, I just wanted Pooja on so that, okay.
I'd love to hear what Pooja says. I'm finished.
Sure, Jayati. Yes, this is something that was striking to us as well when we looked at the data, especially the June data. Now, there are two things to it. One is the way we are capturing Manrega data, especially demand. I completely agree with you. It's a very complicated process to actually assess what do we mean by demand. We are not really asking for number of work registrations. So what we are asking is how many people are willing to work for Manrega. So it's a difficult question to ask and a difficult question to respond to as well. But our idea is that the block experts should know how many people are actively looking for Manrega jobs and how many are getting it. So getting it is a different question. But looking for is something that we are trying to derive from the block experts. Now, it's not just a yes or no question or a number question. What we ask them is, are there more number of people looking for Manrega job, or what are they doing? So in fact, in May, what the block experts, most of them suggested was that because they have come back now, they are now looking for jobs, and most of them are willing to do Manrega jobs, which means that there was a demand for Manrega kind of jobs. But in the month of June, the block experts, they suggested, again, the narrative suggested that this demand is going down. And it could be because now many are involved in the sowing, as you said, a sowing season, and it's going to be a very good season for Kharif. So that could be a possible reason that they are moving towards other kinds of job. And also what some of the block experts suggested from some certain location, that people are now gearing to go back, or many of them have gone back. So that could be a reason that, you know, people are no longer looking for Manrega jobs. That is, I understand that, you know, it's a difficult question to grab and capture. But yeah, it's kind of interpretative, if we can say that.
Yeah, I think if we going forward start focusing on particular domains, livelihood, we should be able to then generate more indicators, more objective indicators, because I think this is what we have right now.
Do you have any questions on wage rates? It might be useful to just ask for wage rates, because that's something they would have a sense about. And that's usually some indicator of the state of the labor market.
Yeah, we'll have to benchmark it in some way, but maybe in order to see trends, but yes.
Well, no, you could just look at, you know, the basic unskilled agricultural and non-agricultural wages. Just go with the unskilled one. You don't have to go to the...
Suraj, there are a couple of things I wanted to mention. One was that, you know, right now there are only 3 or 4 articles, but you know, there's one by Jean Reyes, there's one by 2 people in Purvanchal on the credit. These are up on your website. So I read the one on these 2, and the one on the rural credit situation in Purvanchal was very, very sort of insightful, in the sense that it, you know, I think that article gave a better sense to me than, say, the single number on availability of cash or credit in you know, Eastern UP. So wherever possible, you know, either brief articles, or, you know, since these days we have access to mobile phones and videos and so forth, very brief videos of actual people who are impacted. So for example, this whole, and the third is, you know, things for which the government itself is giving out very detailed statistics, of which NREGA is one. I mean, the NREGA website is like, you know, designed for data analytics PhDs, you know. But so instead of us being in the same business, let us do some qualitative thing of that. For example, कितने लोग जो बाहर से वापस आए या जो गांव में रह रहे थे, निवासी या प्रवासी, उनका जॉब कार्ड है ही नहीं, इसके ऊपर सरकार डेटा नहीं देती। उनमें से कितनों ने अप्लाई किया और उनको अभी तक कोई जवाब नहीं आया, वो भी सरकार नहीं देती। कि कोई लोग जो है साल भर से जॉब कार्ड के लिए घूम रहे हैं, कोई लोग जो है 2 महीने से घूम रहे हैं, कई लोगों ने अभी अप्लाई किया, वो नहीं। तीसरा है कि जॉब कार्ड है साहब, लेकिन हम जब गए पंचायत में तो कि भाई काम का डिमांड देने के लिए कौन सा फॉर्म 6 या जो भी होता है वो भरने के लिए, तो उन्होंने एक्सेप्ट ही नहीं किया। You know, I had this little case study from Alwar, where young girl who works for an NGO. She went to submit job demand forms, and the secretary refused to take it from her. Then after she insisted, he took it, but he refused to give her a receipt. So then she went and complained about it to the BDO, and it became an issue. And that's how, eventually she was at least given a receipt for the demand. So now these few things illustrate, even if you have only an anecdotal piece, but it's spoken by that person, it puts a lot of reality into the numbers that you're talking about. Otherwise, what will happen is, the sarkari data walas will always outbeat us. कि अरे इन्होंने क्या 4 NGO से पूछ लिया तो कौन सी बड़ी बात है, हम तो ऑनलाइन डेटा कलेक्ट कर रहे हैं, हमारे पास 6000 डेटा पॉइंट्स हैं, So we need to avoid, wherever government has big data on its side, we should go qualitative. Just not compete with them. Take their big data, even though it comes with a lag, and go qualitative on it. And where they don't have big data, maybe on like wage rate का बहुत दिनों के बाद आता है, उस तरह का data के बारे में we can probably come up with. And then there are some completely new things happening. For example, जो migrants बहुत सारे वापस आए, तो एक गांव में कितने लोग आए, उसमें से कितने वापस चले गए, और कितनों ने अभी निर्णय किया कि नहीं हम तो यहीं रुकेंगे, और क्यों किया, थोड़ा सा इसके बारे में भी अगर बातचीत हो. So in a sense, while I agree that for and you people have done a fantastic job of getting it off the ground, so it had to be quick and quantitative. Already you're doing 29 into 35, over 1,000 data points, so from each place, for each of those things. Lekin, I think it's important to now supplement it with qualitative understanding of the issues. And sooner or later we will have to get into the local political economy and all of that. But thoda sa let us give ourselves some time for that. But this is I think, and I hope, despite your acronym, you are not going to be bound by COVID. So hopefully one day it will go. So you have to already come up with something else, which would be like, this would be a permanent asset for, development activists, development scholars, policymakers. And in my next intervention, I do want to talk about who are the users even within Sarkar.
Okay, yeah. On one of the things that you mentioned, Vijay, about returned migrants, I think there's been a lot of interesting discussions in many forums about, there's already maybe that window is slowly closing, and bringing them back. But I've also heard, for example, stories from Mewad region, southern Rajasthan, about how some of the returned migrants are now paying more attention in their own villages to common property resources, things like that. So there is that window of opportunity. I think the RC coalition is talking a lot about it, the Vikalp Sangam folks. So there are, this is a conversation which is out there as to, this is a window. There is a silver lining here, in the sense those hollowed out communities now, of course, because of the structural conditions and people are back, what can we do? What is the scope for, livelihoods, so something sustainable there. So any thoughts on that from both of you? And how do we still have that window? What can we do pragmatically? Interventions, sarkar ke ho, ya civil society ke ho, ya community-based organizations ke ho. Yeah, any thoughts on this? Because I think it's a very important thing, and you've already broached it. So, yeah, either of you, yeah.
Well, I think it's good. You are almost at a point where you could use the same network to do some customized inquiry. So since you talked about South Rajasthan and migrant workers, so Ajivika Bureau, which is like immersed in this issue, उनसे हम पूछें कि भैया ठीक है, साउथ राजस्थान के बारे में तो आप काफी जानते हैं, 2-4 इलाकों के बारे में जानते हैं, but since the next task is to make a policy so that what happened to migrant workers is never repeated again, तो उसके लिए क्या 10-15 प्रश्न आप पूछना चाहते हैं जो हम वो 425 जगह से पूछ के जवाब देते हैं. So it's a kind of a customized inquiry, and in that you can also have a couple of academics, maybe Jyoti or whoever else is interested in this issue, who can add those questions, and it would be then a much more value added and sort of useful for making policy, or at least doing advocacy for right policy.
Yeah, so of course we are in touch with Ajivika Bureau. Many of their folks are our block experts, but what you are of course suggesting is a lot more than that. Use these connections to really get a deeper picture. Yeah, Jyoti, yeah.
Yeah, no, this is fascinating, but I don't think you can do all India kinds of proposals. Yeah, and that, of course, you know much better than me because you're looking at such granular data at the block level. But I mean, really, you'll have to think about different strategies in different places. But there is one thing that seems to be coming up in many, many states, which is that more and more households are reaching the 100-day limit for NREGA, and we are only at the start of the year. And so clearly, I mean, this is a big demand that many are making, that you have to increase the number of days, at least to 200 in the first instance. But it would be very useful to know in your blocks how many households are near the point of, let's say, 80 days, 90 days already. Because what happened is that many came back. So, there were 3-4 people from the household looking for this work and so on. So as households reach the 100-day limit, there should be, and I believe there ought to be this thing, but it would be very useful to have that data from the field that, okay, so many are already at 90 days. And what will they do after this? Because there's the whole year left. We've only done two months of the financial year, 3 months of the financial year. And if that is the case, then what are the kinds of things they could do that would actually be generally improving not just quality of life, but sustainability of the area and so on. So, you then merge it with the Ajivika Bureau kinds of things, and those who are looking at various kinds of sustainability and water issues and so on and so forth, to even suggest proposals for the kinds of work that could be engaged in.
What do you think might be the scope of panchayats, or I mean, I'm just opening it more generally, because we have about 5-10 minutes left. I just had a thought about, panchayats are really not much in the picture, nor are, urban local bodies too much. And is it because, the capacities are limited or whatever, or is this an opportunity, for really going decentralized in some meaningful way? Many of these schemes can be operated, in a very decentralized manner with community. I mean, is that a possibility, or do we need a big push for which these kinds of things, which need long-term nurturing, cannot suffice? I mean, that's one general question, but also more generally, any other comments? I think many people are tuned in just to hear both of you, and so any other general thoughts on the situation? Yeah, please go ahead.
Should I? Yeah, okay. No, so, again with panchayats, it's not one or the other. Yeah, and it's very, very state specific. I would say even district specific. So I have seen panchayats in Odisha, which are actually very tuned in and responsive and so on. So I don't think it follows that, they're not in the picture. I think it varies quite a lot. And you'd have to get a sense of that and how much you can use them, and definitely you'd have to engage with them. I think not engaging, even if they seem to be doing nothing, is never a good strategy. So absolutely on that. I just want to come to another issue. This Rahul Mukhopadhyay had raised this issue in the chat box about the midday meals, that if schools were closed and so on. And Pooja, you answered that actually. You said that, but I found that also odd because the schools were closed in March, right? 23rd of March was the last day that schools could operate. So if they had distributed, they would have done presumably at the end of March. Subsequently, what happened? How is it that there was this variation May and June? And why is, what was going on there? It seems a bit odd because to my knowledge, very few states have actually arranged for provision of dry rations. Very few is what information we're getting. But what you seem to suggest is that in all these blocks, it was happening. Sorry, it's a side point, not a general point like you were asking for, but I was just curious.
Yeah, we are noting that down. I don't think we have a very stable explanation. We did hear lots of stories of places where they are keeping these not just dry rations, but actually giving cooked meals, not just for the 6 to 14, the school age group, but we heard in several places. Now, I don't know, several means how much.
That's the kind of detail that would be really great to know.
Yeah.
Where were they doing this? Where did the resources for that come from, etc. So that.
Right. Fair enough. Yeah.
सूरज, आपने जो एक बड़ा प्रश्न पूछा कि इस जो भी हुआ उससे क्या हम पंचायतों को और नगर पालिकाओं को और समर्थ कर सकते हैं क्या और करना चाहिए क्या, तो उसका तो जवाब यही है कि ये तो 30 साल पुराना एजेंडा है जो ओवरड्यू है, एंड और जरूर करना चाहिए, उसमें कोई शक नहीं है। और उसके क्या इश्यूज हैं वो स्टैंडर्ड फंड्स, फंक्शनरीज वगैरह पूरी कहानी सबको मालूम है। इट इज बेसिकली रिलक्टेंस ऑफ द पॉलिटिकल क्लास to yield power to the lower level in the whole system, so from the center to the state to the district to the panchayat and all of that. तो वो mentality को change करना जरूरी है। लेकिन I wanted to also talk to you about कि this is proving to be a very good thing, लेकिन हमें quite early, and you did mention this at the opening, that you are not doing this to beat anybody up on their head, just because they're getting low score doesn't mean anything. The idea is that we are doing it as a collective responsibility. After all, देश हमारा भी है और डिस्ट्रिक्ट कलेक्टर का भी है और वहाँ की गरीब जनता का भी है। तो अगर ठीक नहीं चल रहा है कुछ तो हम सबकी समस्या है। तो very early on, what can you do by reaching out to people at 3 or 4 levels in the administration कि भाई ये रिसोर्स है, ये आपके लिए अवेलेबल है, आप बताइए कि आप इसको फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल आप इसको आप इस्तेमाल करना चाहते हैं या नहीं, और अगर आपके लिए यूजफुल है तो किस तरह इसको think of it as one more channel. आपके जो मुलाजिम हैं वो तो आपको खबर देते ही रहते हैं, थोड़ा बहुत जो पॉलिटिकल चैनल है उससे भी आपको खबर आती रहती है, लेकिन ये एक तीसरा चैनल है, इसको आप अगर सुनना चाहते हैं और इससे आपका काम अगर इम्प्रूव होता है तो उसमें what I'm saying is that we need some stakeholder consultation early on. Now that you have a product to show, I mean the presentation made by your 2 colleagues was enough to show कि हाँ भाई इसमें तो बहुत दम है, और most officials will immediately get to अच्छा लेकिन आप डेटा कहाँ से कलेक्ट करते हैं, अच्छा आप वो 3 NGO से पूछें, अरे वो क्या बताएंगे आपको, आप हमसे आके पूछिए, हम डील करते हैं गवर्नमेंट, हम पब्लिक से डील करते हैं, वो NGO वाले तो ठीक है 2-4 गांव घुमाए, 3-4 लोगों से बात कर लिया चौपाल पे तो क्या, so we have to get past that, otherwise what will happen is that this will become one more useful tool to to people like Jyoti and me. We are already in some ways, speaking as loudly as we can, Jyoti much more than I am, but that's not doesn't seem to be enough to move the system, and yet इसमें data power है, decentralized power है इसमें, तो I think it's a very powerful instrument. आप separately एक session करो कि how do we make this into a useful tool for officials first. हम CSO वाले और मीडिया वाले तो हम तो इस्तेमाल करेंगे ही, लेकिन as it is हमारी बात कोई सुनता नहीं खास, और अगर सुन भी लेते हैं तो those are only those few officials in the system जिनके साथ एक तरह से at the level of principle and at the level of practice there is some understanding. So how do we expand that circle, because as you said very rightly, it's everybody's problem. What India showed as its administrative and political and response was far worse than its social response. So we have a collective task. We have to improve our formal systems, you know.
Yeah. So thank you.
Yeah, that okay. Last point. I think that was a great point Vijay made, and I just want to add to that. But maybe you can actually make the local officialdom part of your triangulation exercise. Tell them कि हमें ये खबर मिली, आपको क्या लगता है? पंचायत वालों से पूछ लीजिए, जो ब्लॉक डेवलपमेंट ऑफिसर है पूछ लीजिए उनसे भी. तो that way they are also involved in it, that they also feel that हाँ हमने भी इसका वो किया है. And they will
Plus,
also take it more seriously.
Of course, they are very guarded, as you know.
Of course, they'll be guarded.
Complicated, but
Yeah.
No, you don't have to.
maybe,
You don't have
yeah.
to say that. You can offer it to them, saying
Yeah,
कि आप बताइए कि ये.
एंड अगर थोड़ी बैड न्यूज है तो कम से कम एडवांस नोटिस तो मिल जाएगा कि सर निमाड़ के बीडीओ साहब आपका पूरी इंडिया में वर्स्ट स्कोर आ रहा है.
So we have to be very careful. इसको इस तरह frame ना करें. I think, and that is.
Right.
But yeah, that's the thing. I think data can also be framed in ways which we don't want. So also so we need to articulate what it can be used for time and again. जैसे आप निमाड़ and बस्तर को compare करने का ये नहीं है, but at least locally compare. In Bastar area, Bastar, Dantewada, maybe up to Rajnandgaon or Gariyaband or something, that area may be comparable, right? So that was the original motivation. So I think time is running on. So we'll bring it to a close. If either of the discussants have any, any final thing to say, otherwise we'll
just to congratulate you. Great job.
Yes.
Really, I think it's a wonderful initiative. I think it's, and you presented it very well, all of you. I love all the maps and everything. It's very good.
Okay, well, thank you, Jayati. Thank you, Vijay. Pooja, do you want to just add anything as we close? Yeah.
No, nothing much. Just would like to thank both the speakers, because these comments are incredible. And some of it we're already thinking about, like what Vijay just said, and also Jayati was pointing out, that we need to involve people from the, not just from CSOs, but also other government officials. So actually we are thinking in those lines now, how to present it to them. And of course, we are looking forward to many more stories, as what Vijay Mahajan was just saying, to have this kind of validation. So I completely agree with what Jayati said and the concerns with the data as numbers. But yes, we are working on these stories, and very soon we'll be having many such stories on the website.
So then thank you again. And also just the 100 plus CSOs. Yeah, hi. Okay, thanks for getting back on. Yeah, the 100 plus CSOs, which have partnered with us, lots of volunteers. So we're trying to, in some sense, not build a network, but connect with lots of people. There are existing networks to try to leverage that. And as I think, Vijay, you said, this is not just about COVID. It's an opportunity to get something maybe a little longer lasting, an ear on the ground, which is a little bit independent and with all its limitations. So hopefully, so it's a lot of people. You saw a few of us faces on this webinar, but there are several more behind. So it's been a big effort. So thanks to all of them, our partners and our own team, which has got about 30-40 people doing all this background work. So thanks to all of them as well. Ankit, any last words? We'll just wrap up. Yeah.
Vijay, I'll have to leave, Suraj, because I've got that other thing. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Thank you, Jayati.
Yeah, nothing to add, Suraj. I just wanted to thank the speakers as well as the block experts and the organizations that have helped us out. तो मैं बहुत तहे दिल से धन्यवाद करना चाहता हूँ सारे ब्लॉक एक्सपर्ट्स और जो CSO ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस हैं जिन्होंने हमें सपोर्ट किया है इस डेटा कलेक्शन प्रोसेस में, जिनके बिना ये मुमकिन ही नहीं हो पाता कि हम ऐसा डैशबोर्ड बना पाते.